think we've got about 45 seconds left. Any questions? Thank you very much for having us. My name is Mike. I lead the ad sales team. This is Laura, leads the data and insights and analytics team. And I don't know how many people, this is an ad conference, so I'm hoping it's pretty good. But people remember the Apple ad that I'm a PC, I'm a Mac? So on your left-brained, very data, insightful, right, Laura. Right-brained, creative, barely believable ad sales, Mike. This is the way that we're going to do this for the rest of the presentation. Brian has teed us up quite nicely on the basis that he's alienated most of the audience by saying future of television really isn't that bright, which is not great for the paychecks of many of the people in this room. So we're here to bring a more positive spin on the notion of the future of television. We're going to be talking through a bunch of data, a bunch of the things that we're doing as one of the platforms. And I think this is going to be one of the themes that we try and bring out, that TV it's more than it was before. We're not just in this broadcaster buyer consumer world. There's a whole new part of the value chain, which is the platform. And that changes the dynamics of what TV can do, per some of the things that Richard from Ampere talked about, per some of the things that Kate from ITV will follow us and talk about. One of the first points, after two Canadians, it's nice to have some UK data in here from Touchpoints. One of the fundamental parts that Richard from Unilever was talking about that hasn't changed in this world of TV is the desire for reach. And even if we ignore the time spent, even if we ignore the time element of this for now, just looking at the reach of television is an amazing starting point. This is not a medium in and of itself that has a problem. What's happening inside it and the vested interests of some of the people in there, sure, we can talk about that. But we're starting from a very good starting point. It's about what's happening within TV that's the issue. Laura.
Yes. Now, obviously, the UK is a market unlike any other because of the BBC, and I've worked for the BBC and have a good purview in 4 hours a day with television. But actually, when you look at the commercial opportunity, this is Touchpoints data. For those of you who are not familiar with Touchpoints, I was one of the founding partners when I had a mobile digital hat, so I actually know how to sell both sides. Commercial VOD and commercial live recorded is only half the time in the UK. It's only 51% of a commercial opportunity, but what we see is as SVOD come into the market with ads, there's going to be a growing opportunity, but there's multiple layers here. There's the linear ads, there's the TV streaming ads, and what we're going to take you through is the connected TV capabilities that are on top of the TV streaming ads, which is where we think the innovation is happening. And I'll be frank, I've judged thousands of awards. TV has literally fallen off the cliff. We need to get our king crown back, or queen crown, or lots of other options of crowns back in. And why have we circled out of home? Because connected TV, I often make a joke, depending on the PC level of the room PG, I say connected TV is the combination of television and potentially digital having a one-night stand, and connected TV was born out of it. But actually, with the way Roku's going, I'm also curious about what out of home has been doing in the scene, because we've got some options of what you can do on our screens with that as well. What's going on? We heard earlier from Kantar that there are two battles of what you can really want to buy as a buyer, and we actually believe that there's three. We've got 3 million advertisers on Meta, and in fact, I just had a conversation with JP Edwards from OMD, and he says there's 200 million advertisers worldwide in digital. They want to come up into TV, they want to graduate from digital, and when they hit the plateau of no efficient buys, we need to help them, but it's a steep cliff to come into TV. They want biddable, and they want one-to-one. We know that. We know at the top end, the fame-building brands, the omni-channel brands, sometimes they come to us with one chance to fame. And we have to help them solve for how do they deliver that fame. And normally, if you look at, say, IPA effectiveness, it's 6 to 7 omni-channel touch points that will be in those solutions. Our challenge The measurement at the top end is great. The measurement at the bottom end, it's the messy middle that we need to solve for. Those brands and categories with maybe 30% reach, or maybe, buys of once every 4 months, and we have not solved, and they're trying to stack all of those solutions, and that's why Origin has come about. What we're going to show you is what does fame look like in a connected TV environment when it got turned pink on Roku.
So it wasn't always grey and horrible, etc. outside. If you remember back to this summer, everything was lovely, and everything was pink. The Barbie campaign would probably not be beaten in terms of the sheer number of exposures. Whoever is in charge of frequency capping on that is in a world of trouble. But that was quite an amazing effort across every single media for months, it felt like this summer. So what did that look like on Roku? And it's important to note at this point, so Richard at the start of the day from Ampere talked about the splintering of viewing into all of its different VOD types, Bs, S, As, and everything else in between. And this is one of the points I wanted to highlight about the power of the Roku platform, and other platforms are available. They're not as good, but other platforms are available. The power of the platform is that whatever people are going to watch, this is your starting point. Think of this as the next generation of the EPG. And actually, it's a really interesting thing for things like prominence and the big debates that are going on right now in how media is regulated. What should platforms like Roku, like Samsung, like LG, etc., how do we best represent PSB content, for example, in the UK? But you see that Barbie ad at the start, that right-hand banner, that's there for everybody. So we work with a load of theatrical advertisers, an environment, if anybody's read the Think Box need states paper, there's a lot of those need states that don't start with exactly what people know they want to watch. So you've got this really big opportunity for discovery. You've also got a creative canvas, the like of which is not governed by 15s and 30s. And so in this instance, you're looking at Roku City. Roku City is a different format, sits outside of programming. And you can see in here, you can start to build billboards in it. You can build a movie theatre with the Barbie movie showing. You can build what's going to come on shortly. You'll see the Barbie house just ticking off to the left-hand side. All of these things that create what we term fandom. The brands are able to go and do something really creative on a screen that you can't do outside of standard television ad units. But this is connected TV, and we can do that now. You can do this outside of just pure programming. And what we see is it works. When you're in 76 million households worldwide, that's the equivalent to like 200 days worth of being all over Times Square, 300 days worth of Piccadilly Circus in terms of its opportunity to be seen. And that's a pretty phenomenal starting point for an entirely new ad unit that captures the people who are, whether they're AVOD, they're SVOD, they're BVOD, they're all the VODs. You've got the opportunity to capture them from the starting point. So to Brian's point about the maybes, perhapses, etc., some of the downsides that he's using isn't taking into account that platform opportunity of not missing those guys who are going into different environments. And we know, again, from the TV point, that it works, that social carryover of the moments and people talking about it, that just gives us the opportunity to amplify TV. And then this point about from power on to then purchase complete, what does that look like for Barbie? The ability to click on that ad, the QR code takes you into a transactable environment, or you can then go to the Barbie trailer and watch that straight from the TV set. And it's an evolution in the use of the remote control. We're going to come on to the QR code there as well, but actually the trailer begins using the OK button on the remote. And that's increasingly important as we look at the T-commerce applications.
Now, Roku City is relatively new for taking advertising in the last 12 months, but what we're already seeing with the work we're doing with, for example, Kantar Millward Brown, is that when you have a video ad, whether it's in linear or streaming, and you mix it with a platform experience, the multiplier effect on purchase intent is 4x. And this is where we hope, as an industry, we can start to claw back the fame-building elements that TV was almost famous for. It's more than great creative. The challenge we have is that the digital native buyers who are coming into our ecosystem, we are speaking a fundamentally different language. So if it was English for digital, now it's learning French. And how do you convince a digital buyer that if you want to really have an impact on increasing your purchase intent, you're going to have a frequency of about 20? Or if you want to really maximize your ad awareness, you're probably going to need a frequency of 10 to 14. We're speaking a different language to what a digital native have grown up with a frequency of 3 to 5. This is more money that they need to spend. And then on top of that, they may have already been used to probably spending at best, when it's a studio experience in digital, 7% of their budget on creative, compared to cinema, where it's as much as 30% and TV somewhere in the middle. We're asking them to make huge, major investments in television advertising, and I don't necessarily think we've communicated what that playbook looks like, particularly for scale-ups. What we call this is the messy middle. So you've got that frequency capping of a known audience who's in market of 4, and we're actually trying to also help not only branding, but business building when you probably need a frequency of at least 15. What does this translate into the measurement world? This is why I've been on stage. I was on the second of this conference 15 years ago, and they still let me on stage. But why? We haven't solved measurement because actually, again, it comes down to the marketer DNA and the marketer typologies. I actually at Roku have mapped out over 15 different marketer typologies, how they want to buy, what metrics matter to them. So if you think those startups, they want to send someone somewhere else. They don't care who they are, what they look like, what their feelings are. They just want them to take an action. And at the top, it's all about, for example, Coca-Cola selling happiness, selling moods. How do we want people to feel? They do have measurement for this. That's normally outside the currencies and the JICs. The battleground is really this messy middle. Why? Because we've got all of these scale-ups and startups trying to come into the TV ecosystem with a frequency of 4, and Mike will talk about price points, but actually what you have is the incremental reach of the major established brands and the distance in what they're trying to achieve in this messy middle and the price points they're willing to pay. There's a gap here as well, and we haven't communicated the value to make that leap of faith. The addressable area is like this kind of 7 to 30% point where I actually found out, and I didn't know this, if you look at Barb, nearly 70% of ads on Sky are actually 0 ratings value. And that's where a lot of these up-and-coming brands want to come into. We believe Connected TV is the place that can solve for this messy middle. And the reason is because we're overlaying shoppable. It's not going to solve all the problems, but if it's enough to help a marketer come into TV, convince their C-suite this is the right investment, and give them the mileage they need to build and ramp up into TV, we think we're on the right road. Over to Mike to explain.
So I think that it's always tough when you're trying to win one of these arguments about the future of commerce is. Future of commerce is online. No, it isn't. Actually, yes, it was. Nobody will transact on their mobile phones. Yes, they will. The television will never be able to go and do that. We very much believe it actually will be able to, and the tools are there. The consumer behavior is already changing, and we think this is a really interesting opportunity to help this buyer education of the full power of a television platform. We're actually going to use a version of Wendy's in a second to show you. But I talked a little bit beforehand about this idea of like the response piece. The response doesn't just have to be about QR codes. Actually, the OK button on the remote control is incredibly powerful, and it just hasn't been really put to anything like its full effect yet. And so what Roku has been doing, partly because we need to find a way of bridging the gap between brand buyers and response buyers, digital buyers from the linear television buyers, is to introduce ad formats that actually give the option for the best of both worlds. There's branding elements, but actually there's ways of making direct outcome-based behaviors happen on the big screen. Again, Kate from ITV will come on in a second and talk about this idea of kind of outcomes for television. But if we have a look at what this looks like for Wendy's, again, big ad on the right-hand side as a natural accompaniment to people watching a film, to have takeout food at the same time. User clicks on that with the OK button.
And this was the platform level. When I asked earlier, how do you measure platform? These are display units on connected TV.
Exactly. So this is sitting outside of any of the content. This isn't about, are you watching ITV, are you watching Netflix, etc. You go into the environment. Now you've got the option for the discount code to go to your phone. So you're not trying to do all of this on an unwieldy UI. You can do all of this on your phone. The phone number's already in there because it's part of your platform experience. And again, this is the connected TV first-party data opportunity that exists that we have as the platform, that broadcasters have. If you looked at the Sky numbers, if you talked to Reese and talked about the ITVX numbers, like there are a lot of people in the TV ecosystem who have an incredibly rich amount of first-party data that we can now start doing more things with in order to bring more advertisers and whatever they're looking for to the TV screen. And again, code delivered, and there's the opportunity for the Wendy's order to go through. And that's something that isn't about whether it's, to Brian's point, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year brand building impact. That is something that the marketer can see right now. Somebody's done it and completed. We've seen 20,000+ XX happening, and that's what is the ROI for their campaign.
Listen, I never say traditional TV, I say established TV. If connected TV is a birth child, we've got really strong parents that we owe a lot of homage to. And when we look at the greatness of the GICs and currencies measurements, they're built on the foundations of population statistics. And as a measurement practitioner, statistics are always about removing uncertainty. What we forget is in the world of television, particularly like, for example, in the UK, it's actually, it's Jeff yesterday in Sky, he said, when you get further up the line, it's less about the opportunity of what you need to have the right time, the right place, and it's more about making sure that you don't have the wrong ad at the wrong time, in the wrong place, beside the wrong thing. And that costs a lot of time and effort for TV companies to be able to do. We're the platform where the streaming wars are playing out. We're also, a media company. And what we really want to hone in on, as much as we're making these solutions to help the performance element of the ecosystem, we absolutely collectively still need to show the power of creativity on this unbelievable main screen in the living rooms. 49% is still about creative. And I've got 1 minute. And the good news is that what we're doing is, as much as we're building these shoppable ad formats, we're also going to be creatively testing them with System 1, because the last thing we want to do is turn the TV fully into the internet. I don't know about you, I had 20 years there, and I think we kind of mucked it up. I came into TV to make sure, hopefully, we don't do the same thing twice. So what we're doing is we're testing creative, we're looking for brands to partner with, and we're doing lots of battery of tests to see how we get these connected TV elements with OK2 right, both for the advertiser, the ability to do their messaging. And the thing is while digital is making billion-dollar seconds, we have TV streamers burning time looking for what to watch. In the US, they spend on average 10 minutes. I work in the markets outside the US, and in some markets, people are willing to spend up to 40 minutes looking for something to watch. We've got to find a way to at least monetize it and help them find what they need to do. This is the testing we started. So what you can see is, in the top left, it's the linear ad or TV streaming ad, and then there will be loads of elements, whether it's OK to text, OK to email, OK to locate. And we look forward to coming back 12 months from now and showing you what we think is the most effective ways to work through to make sure we can still build the brands of the future for fame building. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.